What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Uh Kind of a rainy kind of day out, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good. Very thankful. A lot of blessings this year. So, I wanted to tell this story, and I think it kind of summarizes a lot of what I talk about. And just thinking about the overall kind of where the country is and different things and money printing and debt and all this stuff, and it just kind of demonstrates for you like an indicator of what is really happening out there. So let me just share my screen here. All right, so we have this. What is this thing on my screen? This, my friends, is a water filter that was installed for 3 months in Somerset, Massachusetts. Okay, so Somerset has public water and public sewer. It's a town in Massachusetts, and it's got public water and public sewer. So this water filter was installed right after the water meter, whole house water filter. That's what it looked like after 3 months. Okay, this is what it is: a Culligan regular water filter. Okay, not a very thick one, looked very basic. The homeowner was concerned about, not losing too much flow, too much water pressure. So they didn't want too much of a thing, right? And that's how it looked when it was installed. Okay, so from that to that in 3 months. So what does it mean? Okay, this is not, the town is the worst town in the world video, nothing like that. It's just what is really going on. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, oh, and that's what it looked like 5 minutes after it was installed. So within 5 minutes in August, that's how that water filter looked. So it's kind of disconcerting, right? It's concerning. It's just, we're the greatest country in the world, and a hallmark of a great country is clean water and infrastructure, right? So let's talk about Somerset. Somerset is a town in Massachusetts, right next to Fall River. It's a suburb of Fall River, about 45 minutes south of Boston, give or take. And it's kind of an aspirational town, right? People, they leave the city, they want to go to suburbs. I think Somerset really during the 60s, the power plant came to town. It was a big employer, pumped a lot of tax money into town. The town got built out, a lot of overhead. It was good though. That was kind of the heyday of America, right? When you think of the American dream, it's towns like Somerset, and there's thousands of them around the country, and this is one example. you know, and this is the power plant. I picked the most blurriest picture, but there's the power plant. So 1960s, this plant came online for many years, 40, 50 years, just pumped a lot of cash into the town, helped the town grow. It was the heyday of the town, and in 2017, the plant shut down. And there you have it, right? So Somerset, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a rich town. It's not a poor town. It's just like I said, it's an American town. So if you look at all the cities and towns in Massachusetts, Somerset comes in number 94, right? 7,100 households, average income $90,000. Okay, right between Norwood and Forestdale. Now, 90,000 in America, that's a pretty good income. We've talked before about the median income in America is like $34,000. If you watch my videos, 90,000 is pretty good, right? So Massachusetts has some heavy hitters, and we know that, right? Here's the top 10 in Mass, top 10 towns ranked by income. Boxford, Mass, $222,000 a year. Green Harbor, Mass, $218,000. Dover, Wellesley, Lexington, and so on. Needham, right? So Massachusetts is a very well-off state, right? And if you look, as of 2023, the U.S. states with the highest per capita incomes are District of Columbia. All right, stop for a second. Why is the seat of the government the state with the highest per capita income? And we talk about this a lot, right? I made a video the other day. I was like, hey, the most jobs creation this year is the government. Money printing. Where's all the money going? It's right there. District of Columbia, number 1. Maryland's what? Number 5. Virginia's like number 8. So right, that seat of government is where most of the money in America is. Okay. New Jersey is number 2. $117,000 a year, right? New Jersey's right outside of New York City. $117,000 a year is a pretty good living in America. not in Manhattan. So if you work in Manhattan, you make that kind of money, you got to live in New Jersey. And I think that's why New Jersey's pumped up. And there's Massachusetts, number 3. Okay. So Somerset, in the grand scheme of things, I think in most states would be a pretty well-off town, right? And so we're kind of middle of the road in Massachusetts wise. So what's the issue? Why does a town that had such a long run of greatness with this power plant and tax base, that was always a desirable place to live, why is the water brown? What is happening here? This is not some third world country. This is not some poor city that's been mismanaged, and this is a town like many other towns in America that are very similar to Somerset. What is going on in Somerset? So back in August, I made a call, talked to somebody in the water department. I was like, hey, what's the deal? What's going on? All right. And I was told, hey, look, the water, when it comes out of the plant, the water purification plant, it conforms to the standards. It's clean water. But the problem is the aging infrastructure, right? So the town does this flushing, right? So they they try to keep the water moving, right? So what I was told back in August was, so you can see in these pictures, these aren't Somerset, but just some pictures I found to give you an idea. So that's what's inside these pipes. And I guess in the summertime, when people are using a lot of water, when the pools are being filled, grass is being watered, it kind of disturbs the sediment in the bottom of the pipes, right? So that was the cause of the brown water. Don't be concerned. Tell your guys, go get a filter, bam, put it on, okay? So November, no one's using pools. You would think the water would be clear. We'll find out in a minute if it is or not, all right? And then, they said it's about $1 million a mile to change the pipes. And there's 7 miles of pipes that need to be changed. $7 million. They recently got $1 million to change 1 mile worth of pipes. And there is a company from New Jersey, Ferrera Construction. I see them all over Fall River, all over Somerset. They go around. Shout out to Ferrera Construction. And they do these big, municipal projects. So they've been in Somerset, that $1 million appropriation, great. But I was also told the town needs a totally new water purification plant and a new sewer plant. So that's $100 million is what he said. I mean, there's 7,100 households in Somerset, right? According to that other chart we just saw, 100 million divided by that's $14,000 per household, right? Where's that money going to come from? So I'm like, all right, how did we get to this point, right? How are we in this position that we're in? And it was, he said, look, man, it was, just over time, nobody really thought ahead. Nobody planned ahead, and we are where we are. So I'm not sitting here blaming the selectmen in power now. I'm not blaming anybody in charge now. This is systemic from the 1960s to today. Again, it's the entire country. There are 1 million Somersets in the United States of America. In all these places, everything's breaking at once, okay? So our water system is breaking, right? Our middle school, breaking, right? So the middle school needs to be replaced. It's being rebuilt, $80-something million. So if everything's breaking at once, what do you fix first? Whatever you can get money for, right? But the town doesn't have the money. The money has to come from the states. The states get the money from the federal government. And at the end of the day, it's your money and my money. So you can clap and pat yourself on the back that the federal government gave the town a grant, or your town or your city, but it's your money. Never forget that, okay? I think it's important. People forget that, okay? And all over the country, these are examples, just that the whole country is deteriorating because our infrastructure is so old and we didn't plan ahead. So, why is that? Like, why does this happen? So there's a guy, Ray Dalio, okay? He wrote this book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order, Why Nations Succeed and Fail. Fascinating story. All right, I would recommend just watch the YouTube video he made. It's 45 minutes, summarizes the book. There's been 44 million views since March of last year. Okay, that tells you, when you're evaluating things online, that's an indicator. 44 million people watched it. There's probably some validity there. Okay, so his thesis is that countries, empires rise and fall 75 to 100 year runs. Okay, so let's think back. When did America become the world superpower after World War II, right? Because before World War II, we were a growing country. Okay, Britain kind of ran the world. We had the Great Depression. There was a lot of, kind of similar to actually what we have today, right? Rich versus poor, this and that. All of a sudden, Pearl Harbor happens, World War II happens, America kicks everybody's butt. We all love each other, and begins the most prosperous time in the history of the world, right? The United States growth from World War II till about the 70s, okay? And that's when, lo and behold, all this infrastructure was built. These schools, these roads, the Eisenhower interstate system, the water plants, the sewer plants, all these, the electrical grid, all this stuff was built then. That's like 70 years ago, okay? So in Ray Dalio's thesis, right, empires rise and fall, okay? So the Dutch precipitated the British, okay? And there's about a 10 to 20 year period of transition, okay? And you can see this arc. So right around here is when the U.S. won World War II, and this is the growth. And then his thesis is we're on the downswing. And if you look at our infrastructure and you look at the things we talk about all the time with debt and money printing and what's happening to our economy, it's a compelling argument. Now, his argument is that China will supersede the U.S. That's one argument, although China's in trouble right now. And China made two really bad decisions. Number one, the one-child policy was terrible for them, all right? And they're paying the price for it dearly today. You can't grow your country if there's no people. And that's kind of worldwide. America's kind of in the same boat. And then number two, their real estate market is completely collapsing. Their economy is in big trouble. They need us to buy stuff from them for their economy to run. Shipping prices are way down, everything. I would argue, I've seen arguments where India could actually be they're the fastest growing economy in the world. They have the people. Okay, so, but regardless, when you look at our infrastructure and you put things in perspective and you look at this guy's argument, you watch his video, it's a fascinating argument that he makes. And Ray Dalio's no dummy. He's he ran a hedge fund, he's very well off, great life story. So what is this arch? What goes into this arch? So in his thing right here, so when a country grows, so this is when we came to power in the world after World War II. Okay, we have a long period of peace, prosperity, and productive debt growth. Okay, so America grew. Everybody came home. Manufacturing was fired up from the war. Bam, we built this country. All this infrastructure came into place. Somerset in the 1960s and 70s grew 1 million Somersets around the country. This story holds true all 50 states, right? Then from there, you begin to have this debt bubble and big wealth gap, right? So now as you kind of get to the peak, the debt starts to get a little bit out of control. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's we all know that. That's happened. And then you kind of turn the corner, right? And you kind of get this debt bust and economic downturn. I would argue this probably started 70s, 80s, right? It takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? Money printing and credit, right? This is where we are, right? Printing money. So if you look at his chart of where we are, if you look at his chart where we are, we're kind of like here, right? About halfway down, right? So we're somewhere in here between printing money and credit, revolutions and wars. So if you look at the world stage, what's going on in the world, what are we getting ourselves involved in? For the last 23 years, we've been at war. Since 9/11, America's been at war. Iraq, Afghanistan, many different things. So, so we're at this point now, right? So you can see, there is a situation where, our infrastructure is aging. Where does the money come from to fix it, right? I love this meme. This is the Jerome Powell meme, right? The money printer, okay? Jerome Powell's chairman of the Fed. He prints the money. So there's only so much money you can print, okay? Printing money and credit before nobody wants it. And we talk about this number all the time. The U.S. national debt, $33.7 trillion. Okay, where's $100 million going to come for every Somerset in America to fix their most pressing infrastructure need? There was an infrastructure bill that was passed, trillions of dollars. And maybe that's why I'm seeing trucks around. There is some money going to that, but that money is just got pulled right here into this debt. So it's just more money that's never going to get paid back. And every town needs everything rebuilt. Every city needs everything rebuilt. Where does the money come from? It's just impossible. You know what I mean? It's just totally, totally impossible, right? And I call your attention right here to the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, you go back to 1960, our debt to income ratio was 52%. 1980, when we had 18% interest rates and Volcker and everybody harkens back to him and how he stopped inflation, the greatest chairman of the Fed ever. Oh my God, we only had 34% debt to income ratio. Now it's 124%. So we have 4 times as much debt to income with, I mean, just it's insane. So the money, so I guess really, for me, I look for the opportunity. That's my strategy. That's why I make these videos. I want to bring attention to stuff. I want to show people the big picture. It's just, it is what it is, right? And this is what I think about all day. This is what fascinates me. It's not to blame. I'm not blaming anybody. It doesn't matter. We are where we are. A lot of people made a lot of mistakes to get us to where we are today. All right. And and I think that the leadership in town of Somerset is great. They're doing a great job. No issues, right? They have chosen to step into these positions to try to lead the town out of this issue. So what can we do on our level? So I look at it, all right, where's the opportunity? Because if it costs $100 million, that can't be done. It doesn't exist, So technology has to change, right? And we're in the middle, I talk about AI a lot. I love ChatGPT, right? I love Tesla, right? Tesla's an AI company that makes cars right now, right? NVIDIA just had earnings yesterday. Biggest AI chip maker in the world, right? So my thing is, all right, technology has to change. Right? AI, robotics, right? The world is going through an industrial revolution right now. That's why I love Tesla, right? So the way I look at it is this situation that we're describing, the water in Somerset, the national debt, this all is my thesis for Tesla. It's my thesis for like AI companies. It's my thesis of investing in different things. And again, not investment advice. I'm just some dude on the internet. Don't listen to me. But, I encourage you to look at all this information and say, all right, this is the reality of the situation that we're in. How do I protect my future, protect my family's future? And, where's the angle here, right? How do I win? And that's what I look at, right? So you put all that in perspective, it's going to take a new industrial revolution to rebuild our country. And that's what AI does. That's what robotics does. All these things that are being built, and I encourage you greatly to look at that stuff and think about that. And that's where I would think, okay, as an investor, that's where I want to put my money because that's what's going to solve the biggest problem that we have as a nation, right? So, that's it, guys. That's how it all works. And to conclude, I did mention that the filter was changed in November, right? Well, here's that filter when it was put in, and there it is 12 minutes later. So it's not a summertime thing. The water in Somerset is probably going to be permanently brown. It is what it is. So if you live in a town like Somerset and you have water that's brown and it's healthy, I would highly encourage you invest in a whole house water filter. Who knows, But hey, guys, that's it. A little food for thought. Hopefully, hopefully while you're sitting home and you're having your discussions at Thanksgiving, this maybe we'll get a discussion going, and just thinking about, all right, this is the reality of what we're in. Hey, but there's always an opportunity, guys. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. If you hung in this long, thank you so much, man. So many blessings this year. And, so just what an amazing time. All right, guys, take care. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And we'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks.